Just whispering the name Koschei in the Slavic regions sends shivers down spines. As one of the most feared figures in Slavic folklore, Koschei is infamous for his dark magic, malevolent nature, and near immortality. His soul, his only weakness, is hidden within multiple layers of protection, making him almost invincible. Known for kidnapping princesses and wielding shape-shifting powers, he embodies the ultimate fear of death and insatiable lust for power. This is Pantheon mythology, and today we answer, why was Koschei the Immortal so feared? Just quickly, while I can't promise immortality, I can promise a timeless look with Pantheon Apparel, our clothing brand inspired by myths and legends. We ship worldwide and are rated excellent on Trustpilot, link in the description. Right, let's go. Koschei the Immortal is a character that strikes fear deep into the hearts of those who hear his name. He's often depicted as a skeletal, bony figure with sunken eyes and a body so frail that it appears to be hanging by the barest threads of life. His haunting appearance gives him a near-spectral presence, and his name itself comes from kost, the Russian word for bone, underscoring his eerie physicality. But Koschei's true power isn't his terrifying looks. It's his immortality. Known as the Deathless, he has achieved what many villains crave but few obtain, eternal life. However, his immortality isn't something that simply exists within him. Koschei's life force, his very soul, is hidden in a complex series of protections. His soul is encased in a needle, which is inside an egg, which is inside a duck, which is inside a hare, all of which are sealed inside a chest buried beneath an ancient oak tree on the faraway land of Buyan. This elaborate safeguard against death makes him nearly invincible. If anyone were to find this chest, they'd have to go through a series of near impossible steps, first capturing the hare, then the duck, and finally breaking the egg to access the needle that holds Koschei's soul. It's this impenetrable barrier that has allowed Koschei to live for centuries, untouched by time. In many tales, Koschei plays the role of a relentless antagonist. He is notorious for kidnapping princesses, such as Maria Morievna, and hiding them away in his dark, remote palace. His obsession with controlling others and manipulating fate makes him a fearsome adversary to the heroes who dare challenge him. Unlike some villains, Koschei is cunning and strategic, often relying on magic to outsmart those who try to defeat him. Even with all his dark magic, Koschei's greatest fear is losing his immortality, which is why he guards his soul with such complexity and ferocity. Koschei represents more than just a villain. He is a symbol of the eternal battle between life and death, of a being so consumed by fear and mortality that he will go to any lengths to avoid it. He lingers between the worlds of the living and the dead, a being who cannot truly die but is never fully alive. His dark powers are vast, from shape-shifting to turning enemies into stone, and in some tales, even frosting entire kingdoms. He embodies the ultimate fear of death, while simultaneously being a force that defies it. While Koschei's immortality is what makes him notorious, his other powers are no less terrifying. As a powerful sorcerer, Koschei is capable of incredible feats of dark magic. His ability to shapeshift is one of his most notable powers, allowing him to transform into various forms, including animals or even elemental forces like a whirlwind, giving him an edge in evading capture or confronting enemies. His shapeshifting not only helps him escape, but also enhances his ability to manipulate and deceive those around him. In addition to his mastery of transformation, Koschei wields destructive powers capable of devastating entire kingdoms. Some tales describe him freezing whole realms or turning his enemies to stone. His magic doesn't just affect individuals, but can alter the very landscape of the world around him, making him a force of nature as much as a villain. What makes Koschei truly dangerous, though, is his cunning. He doesn't just rely on brute strength or raw magic. He uses his intelligence to outwit heroes and bend situations to his advantage. He frequently tricks his opponents, setting traps or using illusions to gain the upper hand. Koschei's powers extend beyond mere combat. His knowledge of the dark arts allows him to control fate itself, often manipulating the course of events to suit his will. He uses his power to enslave and control, capturing princesses and keeping them hidden in his remote enchanted palaces. This control over others, combined with his almost supernatural ability to evade death, makes him a villain unlike any other in Slavic folklore. Despite all this, Koschei's greatest fear remains the loss of his immortality, making him obsessed with safeguarding his soul. This obsession drives much of his behavior, turning his magical powers into tools not just for dominance, but for survival. One of the most famous tales featuring Koschei is the death of Koschei the Deathless, which centers on the hero Ivan Tsarevich and the warrior princess Maria Morevna. In this story, Ivan unwittingly releases Koschei from his chains after being warned by Maria not to open a forbidden door. Once freed, Koschei's strength returns, and in an act of betrayal, he kidnaps Maria and whisks her away to his distant kingdom. Determined to rescue his wife, Ivan sets off in pursuit of Koschei, but first attempts end in failure. Koschei's magical horse allows him to outpace Ivan easily, and when Ivan tries to free Maria, Koschei quickly retaliates. On the third attempt, Koschei loses patience with Ivan's persistence and, in a fit of rage, kills him, chopping his body into pieces and sealing the remains in a barrel that he tosses into the sea. However, Ivan's story doesn't end there. His 3 wizard brothers-in-law find his body and reassemble it and bring him back to life. They inform Ivan that only a magical horse from Baba Yaga, the witch of the woods, can match the speed of Koschei's steed. Ivan sets on the dangerous journey to find Baba Yaga, and after completing a series of near-impossible tasks with the help of animals he had aided earlier, he earns the magical horse that will allow him to finally challenge Koschei. Armed with his new horse, Ivan once again tracks down Koschei and Maria Morevna. This time, Ivan's speed matches that of Koschei, leading to their final confrontation. After a fierce battle, Ivan finds the egg containing Koschei's soul, smashes it and destroys the needle inside. With this, Koschei's immortality is finally broken, and he is defeated for good. His death marks the end of his reign of terror, restoring peace and order to the world. So why was he so feared then? It wasn't just his immense powers or his cunning, but because he represented something far more terrifying: death itself. In Slavic culture, Koschei embodied the inevitability of death and decay, lurking just beyond the edge of life. His skeletal form and unending life symbolized the unnatural defiance of the natural order. To face Koschei was to confront the inevitability of mortality. Koschei's immortality, however, was not just about evading death, it was about spreading ruin. His ability to freeze kingdoms and destroy lives reflected his deeper connection to chaos. His presence brought disorder to the world, upsetting the delicate balance between life and death. This made him more than just a villain. He was a force of nature, representing the unpredictability of the world and inevitable decay that comes with time. But while Koschei was ultimately destroyed, his soul, hidden within the egg, crushed by Ivan, his legacy as a symbol of fear and destruction lived on. Defeating Koschei was no easy task, and even in death, he reminded people of the constant threat of chaos and unyielding power of death. In the minds of the people, Koschei was feared not just for his actions, but for what he represented, an ever-present reminder that death can never truly be conquered, only delayed.